freetalklive.com.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live, brought to you by freekeen.com. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, October 26th, 2017. Silver's trading at $16.91 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,274 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,943. Antiwar.com reports this year's Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, ICAN, for its successful efforts to establish a global treaty that bans nuclear weapons. Peace, disarmament, and civil society groups around the world celebrated the announcement and congratulated ICAN for its landmark treaty accomplishment. In a statement, ICAN called the prize a tribute to the tireless efforts of many millions of campaigners and concerned citizens worldwide who, ever since the dawn of the atomic age, have loudly protested nuclear weapons, insisting that they can serve no legitimate purpose and must be forever banished from the face of our Earth. By employing grassroots organizations and ordinary citizen diplomacy, ICAN, with 468 partner organizations from 100 countries, has permanently stigmatized nuclear weapons and their possessor governments and helped to achieve their eventual elimination. The new treaty was concluded on July 7th when 122 members of the United Nations voted in favor of its adoption. Since September 20th, 53 individual heads of states have signed the treaty, the first step in a government's process of ratification, which is decided by individual nations' parliaments. It will enter in force 90 days after at least 50 countries have ratified it. The United States, the most powerful opponent of the ban, called the treaty negotiations unrealistic and led a boycott, even though the talks are among the explicit mandates of binding articles of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty signed and ratified by the United States in 1970. The new treaty prohibits developing, testing, producing, manufacturing, possessing, stockpiling, and deploying nuclear weapons, transferring or receiving them from others, using or threatening to use nuclear weapons, allowing any stationing or deployment of nuclear weapons on national territories of signatories, and assisting, encouraging, or inducing any of those prohibited acts. The treaty requires each signatory state to develop legal, administrative, and other measures, including the imposition of penal sanctions to prevent and suppress the prohibited activities. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports a record high number of adults in the United States, 64%, say they support legalizing cannabis, according to new research. A Gallup survey revealed American support for legalizing cannabis has grown since they first pulled the question in 1969, when just 12% supported the proposal. By the end of the 1970s, the figure had more than doubled. It changed little throughout the 1980s and 1990s. In 2001, support grew to 34%, and since 2013, a majority of Americans have backed the idea. In last year's poll, support hit 60% for the first time. Cannabis is still illegal at the federal level, but about 1 in 5 Americans live in a state where cannabis is legal for recreational use. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a Rhode Island doctor pled guilty on Wednesday to charges he participated in a scheme to obtain kickbacks in exchange for writing prescriptions for an addictive fentanyl-based cancer pain drug produced by Insys Therapeutic Incorporated. The plea by Gerald Rosenberg came amid ongoing investigations of Insys related to Subsys, an under-the-tongue spray that contains fentanyl, a synthetic opioid. Rosenberg pled guilty in federal court in Providence, Rhode Island, to charges that he committed healthcare fraud and conspired to receive kickbacks kickbacks to prescribe the drug. Prosecutors say that from 2012 to 2015, Rosenberg's scheme to receive $188,000 in kickback in the form of speaker fees from Insys, which were a major factor in his decision to prescribe Subsys to patients. Under a plea agreement, Rosenberg agreed to pay $754,736 in restitution to healthcare benefit programs. He faces a maximum prison sentence of 15 years and is scheduled to be sentenced on January 16th. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Jack Daniels announced today its plan to start marketing directly to children, adding, quote, "Why not?" Executives for the whiskey company told reporters that they've already slated dozens of television spots showing 10-year-old children drinking tumblers of Jack and Coke in playgrounds, and that the company was planning on, quote, "just seeing how it all played out."
Every year, Jack Daniels sells millions of dollars of great American whiskey to men and women all over the world. So, for our next ad campaign, we basically just thought, hey, why not just start marketing this stuff straight to 10-year-olds? I mean, if they catch us, they catch us, but we'll see how far it goes, and hopefully we can sell some alcohol along the way. Sure, some parents groups could get upset, especially if we go with our idea of moms serving their kids cranberry Jack at snack time. But
in other news, a doomed rabbit will teach an 8-year-old a lesson about responsibility, and a torrent of soap issues from a wildly unexpected part of the dispenser. Well, that was it. It's all downhill from here, bud. For more, visit theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us. The us in studio tonight is Daryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
You can join us toll-free, 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free call-in line, 855-450-3733. Later on, we're going to talk about a Missouri college that has rolled out a mandatory patriotism class, and also a teenager that wound up getting a cease and desist letter from Congress. But first, a Mississippi woman. She's had quite a story here. She was jailed wrongly for 96 days, and she finally won the right to sue the county. Story comes from Reuters. Mississippi woman who sat in a county jail for 96 days without being offered bail or a lawyer on suspicion of a drug crime she swore she never committed may pursue a civil rights lawsuit against the county and its sheriff, according to a federal appeals court on Tuesday of this week. Reversing a lower court ruling, the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said that Jessica Jauch was denied basic procedural due process by Choctaw County and Sheriff Cloyd Halford in being held so long, ostensibly because the court was not in session. Her innocence is not disputed. Let me rephrase that again.
Run that by me again, Daryl.
Her innocence is not disputed, but she still sat in jail for 96 days, and the county and the sheriff said she shouldn't have the right to sue us for wrongful incarceration.
How you figure? I mean, this is, by definition, you've been jailed.
Yep.
You were never found guilty. Was she charged?
She was charged, but she was never offered bail or a lawyer.
No bail.
No bail, no lawyer. Like, that's the first thing that you're supposed to be offered is the right to speak to a lawyer.
Right.
She was incarcerated for 96 days and never allowed to speak to a lawyer, again, ostensibly because the court was not in session.
Well, there you go, Daryl.
Circuit Judge Thomas Reevely wrote for the New Orleans-based appeals court that ruled 3-0, quote, a procedure calling for extended pretrial detention without any sort of hearing is alien to our laws. Danny Griffith, a lawyer for the defendants, and Victor Fleitas, who represents Jauch, were not available for comment, but Brandon Buskey, a lawyer for the ACLU, said the decision reflects different levels of justice that people accused of crimes might receive while awaiting their day in court. Quote, you can't operate two justice systems based on wealth and someone who can afford a lawyer and someone who can't, who has to sit in jail for 96 days.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. I mean, let's just say it was a Kennedy. You know, a well-known family, a moneyed family.
Or someone with the middle name Kennedy. Remember there was the guy several years, probably 20 years ago, something Kennedy Smith. And they're like, oh, yeah, he's a third cousin of the Kennedy family.
Yeah, that was a nasty case. That had to do with some sort of an assault down in Florida.
Yeah, I don't remember the specifics. I just remember the Jay Leno joke of that sounds like the fake name that a Kennedy would give when checking into a sleazy motel.
Right.
What's your name? John Kennedy Smith. Yeah, that's it. Kennedy Smith.
Yeah, that's it.
It's hyphenated. But so the specifics of this case are very interesting here. So she was taken into custody, again, Jessica Jauch, taken into custody after police pulled her over on April 26th, 2012. She was then issued several traffic tickets. She later learned that she had been indicted 3 months prior over the sale of 8 tablets of the anxiety drug alprazolam, better known as Xanax. The case was dismissed in 2013 after surveillance video showed that she had merely borrowed $40 from her friend who was working as a confidential informant.
Ah, there we go. Okay, so somebody has an interest in making a case.
Right. And again, this is ridiculous. She borrowed money from her friend who was a CI. I'm guessing that she did not realize her friend was a CI, but even if she did know, it's not illegal to borrow money from your friend.
No.
But nonetheless, a grand jury was told, yeah, she sold 8 tablets of Xanax. Never happened. Again, that case was dismissed in 2013 after she was arrested originally in April of 2012. She sued in April of 2015, 3 years after her initial arrest, but her case was dismissed in September of 2016 by Chief Judge Sherry Ann Aycock of the Federal Appeals Court in Aberdeen, Mississippi. Aycock said that because Jauch was indicted by a grand jury, state law did not entitle her to the court hearing she sought.
So was that a technicality? Was she in the wrong court? Was she suing for something they had no, this is what I don't know, and I don't know if you know. But oftentimes that's sort of how these things get brushed away. You're bringing charges that this isn't the right court to do it in, so go spend as much money as you have to get this far in another
federal court. The initial federal court judge said, well, you were indicted by a grand jury. You have no leg to stand on. So this is not the right court to file the case.
Right.
It was not, oh, you should have filed the paper this way. No, you were indicted, so therefore it's perfectly within the law for them to arrest you and hold you for nearly 100 days without ever allowing you to speak to a lawyer or having a bail hearing because, well, the court's just not in session for 3.5 months, apparently.
Jesus.
Continuing on here, Judge Reevely, that's the judge for the Circuit Court of Appeals, however, said indefinite pretrial detention without an arraignment or court appearance offended fundamental principles of justice, potentially imperiling a suspect's job, income, and family relationships.
You think?
Heaping these consequences on an accused and blithely waiting months before affording the defendant access to the justice system is patently unfair in a society where guilt is not presumed. I'm going to read that one more time because a lot of people don't. I think people don't really understand that the American justice system, you are presumed innocent until found guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Again, the federal appeals judge here says heaping these consequences, that is, being held indefinitely without an arraignment and without a court appearance and without being able to speak to a lawyer, heaping those consequences on an accused and blithely awaiting months before affording the defendant access to the justice system is patently unfair in a society where guilt is not presumed. Hayes Birchfield, who represented Jauch in the drug case, said recent changes in Mississippi law may help indigent people like Jessica avoid sitting in jail while awaiting a lawyer.
Yeah. So back to the whole, innocent until proven guilty thing.
Yep.
It's one of those things. I hear it pretty much dismissed every day. There's some case, there's some issue. They ought to just be thrown in jail and throw away the key.
Yep.
We don't need a trial for that. They haven't earned, based on what they did, they don't deserve a trial. And those are all the things that are just antithetical to everything this country is supposed to be about.
Right.
You're supposed to those aren't there to protect the innocent people, not just the innocent people. They're to protect the guilty people. It's to protect everyone so that you don't get railroaded.
Right. And if you just throw enough charges at somebody or, heinous enough charges at somebody, then they're going to be convicted in, the so-called court of public opinion.
Right. But even money can overcome that.
To some extent, but, then it becomes one of those things of depending on how heinous the crime is, can they actually get a fair jury trial?
Well, I'm going to go
Has the entire jury been tainted because they've heard about how horrible somebody is, the horrible things that they did?
Yeah, but we can talk about OJ, and if OJ had been an indigent Los Angeles, somebody living in the barrio or something like that, would that case have been different?
Absolutely. He never would have been able to hire Johnny Cochran, who would have said, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. And if you disagree, then call in. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Young lady from the rescue delivered happy, and I panicked. He was missing hair, stinky, scabby, and I thought, what did I get us into? The cause of his issue was poor nutrition. It was neglect. The other owners didn't care enough about him to give him the nutrition he needed. But I have a vet that I trust, and she recommended Dinovite, DINOVITE.com. I ordered the first 90-day supply, and within a couple weeks, his skin started clearing up. He didn't smell. He had more energy. He just had a glow and a bounce about him. We've been using Dinovite for the last year, and Happy the rescue dog is Happy the healthy dog. I tell all my friends who have rescues to give their dog the chance at a new start with Dinovite. It's going to pay off for you and your dog for years to come.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org.
Anyone can publish on the internet, but not everyone is publishing material suited for online reading. According to the Yahoo Style Guide, it cautions that internet content has a few seconds, 3 or less, to encourage people to read more, to take action, or navigate to another one of your pages. So make it easy for readers to pick and choose. Isn't that the way you poke around online? Use short words, short sentences, short paragraphs, bulleted lists, and short pages. Front load what you write, putting the most important information at the beginning of headlines and paragraphs and sentences. Same goes for your keywords, what someone would likely type into the search box on Yahoo or Google. For more tips on communicating better online or in a job interview or everyday life, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome. We're talking about the lady down in Mississippi, Jessica Jauch, who was held without bail or the ability to see a judge or the ability to speak with a lawyer for 96 days. That was about 5.5 years ago when she was initially arrested. She recently won the right to actually seek some remediation here. We'll get back into that story, plus your calls and thoughts. But maybe you think that you can't create a better justice system, but you do have power over a better financial system. So consider joining Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast. It can be private. It is easy. The fees are low and transactions are fast or can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. And anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash, so go right now to dash.org and find out why. And we'll get back into the story here of Jessica Jauch here in just a moment. But first to Skype, where we've got Stefan calling in from Ohio. Stefan, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, guys. How are you tonight?
Doing well. What's on your mind?
I had read an article today about how Twitter is apparently banning the RT network and a network called Sputnik from advertising on Twitter. And their reasoning is that advertisements purchased by these companies may have been used to influence the 2016 elections. And I wanted to know what you thought about that.
Kind of like Twitter wasn't used to influence the 2016 elections?
Well, they're saying that Russian advertisers were buying ads for, Jill Stein and a bunch of other third-party candidates,
right,
in an attempt to spoil the election. And I wanted to know what you guys thought of that.
People can claim whatever they want to claim. I would want to see some kind of evidence to support those claims before I either believe or flat out reject the claim.
I'm with Daryl. I have no idea whether they did or didn't do that, so I really can't speak on the issue.
Now, I do know for a fact that in the FBI's report on Russian interference in the election, and I'm using air quotes there, they claimed that RT's hosting of debates featuring Libertarian and Green Party candidates was proof that the Russians were interfering in the election.
Dear.
That was last time.
But I'm so confused because I thought, like Russia, is Russia buddy-buddy with Trump? Is that what people are saying?
That's the claim.
The claim.
But then Trump is buddy-buddy with Clinton because he didn't do all the things he said he was going to do as far as throwing her in jail and all these other things.
But we also have Russia in bed with Clinton because Clinton was buying all this mud on Trump from the Russians. That's just broken the last day or two, right?
Oh, yeah, that dossier, sort of thing.
All that
So the
stuff goes back to...
Russia was sleeping with them both, I guess.
See? Strange bedfellows.
When I hear things like this, and when I hear, because, Zuckerberg pretty much confirmed, he said that he had confirmed that Russian agencies were buying ads for Jill Stein and things like that. And I had to ask, why is it wrong for a foreign government to support a candidate in other countries? I mean, is that basically them saying you can't have any sort of input
America
on a
does it all the time
election?
when we pay for regime change.
Yeah, I was going to say, Stefan, the right way to do this stuff, first you got to send your intelligence agencies down there. And they've got to, break a few legs and stuff like that. And then they got to push tons of money into the election system. And then they've got to get all the vote counters and threaten them so that they only count the votes that we want.
Hey, if
that's the American way of swaying an election.
Cuba.
If the Russians had wanted to buy Gary Johnson some ad times, I wouldn't have complained.
Well, when I hear things like this, as I said, let's imagine, for example, I was a total idiot and I decided last time around I want to support Nicola Sturgeon in the UK parliamentary race that just happened earlier this year. According to these guys, me putting up an ad or buying ad space to put support towards Nicola Sturgeon would be considered interfering with an election.
Yeah, it's absurd. And
right, and a lot of this is because there are federal laws on who, quote unquote, is and is not allowed to directly campaign for, who's allowed to give contributions to. There was even something where Canadian law is somewhat similar in that respect, to where if I were to buy billboards in Canada saying vote libertarian, then I would be violating Canadian election law if those billboards were in Canada, because I'm not a Canadian citizen.
Sure. And I look at this and I go, okay, Twitter, you have every right to say to the Russians, no, I'm sorry, that would be in violation of U.S. election law.
Or they could just say it's violation of our terms of service.
Right. Or you can honestly just say, without any more explanation, I'm sorry, we don't want to sell to you.
Well, if that's against the law and Zuckerberg said the Russians didn't, then isn't Zuckerberg liable for that?
For selling
that's if the courts were actually consistent in the way they apply things to websites, to where the creators of Craigslist, they're not being charged with any kind of thing when somebody, advertises an illegal service on Craigslist, but the people behind Rentboy and what's the Backpage, they're being charged because, people on your site were advertising something illegal. Ross Ulbricht in jail for 2 life sentences plus 40 years because people used his website to sell cannabis.
It kind of boils down. Some people would say this is a conspiracy, but I don't think anybody would want to charge Facebook, because I do believe that since so much of our personal information is on Facebook, that maybe Facebook is a valuable asset to the United States government, because if they want information on people, they can get it. I don't know if any of you know this. I do not use my real name on Facebook at all.
Good for you.
And I know. I mean, that's just my personal.
Don't let Zuckerberg hear that. He'll implement that real names policy on you and make you scan your driver's license.
I did. I'm kind of one of those people where, I don't know, maybe I'm lucky, but I don't really care what all comes to light, because I feel like I've got nothing to hide in life. I don't give a shit.
Oh, Heather, you can't say that. You cannot say that.
Oops.
That's okay. But I think Skype would have heard that, but the airwaves wouldn't have heard that.
Yeah,
Oops.
so I was able to hit the little dump button to where it went back. And we're just going to pretend that you didn't say anything. Stefan, continue with your thought.
I have one comment to make on what Heather just said, not the little expletive there, but I was just like, I really don't care if I'm getting spied on. I don't like when people say that, because unfortunately, when the masses say that, it affects people like me who do care.
Yep.
Right.
Agreed.
Stefan, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome. Should Twitter just ban all ads?
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Chad here, owner of Infidel Body Armor. With the shooting in Vegas, there will be calls to ban guns and body armor. You can expect prices to rise dramatically in the coming weeks as gun grabbers try to outlaw your freedom. If you don't have your armor kit yet, you are behind the curve. Don't miss your window of opportunity. Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com and click on Specials. That's InfidelBodyArmor.com.
Free Talk Live.
Some old codger Republican is screaming at his radio.
This is not a democracy.
Yeah, it's
we
a
don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic.
And to that guy, just take a deep breath. Tell me the operative difference between a democracy and a republic.
Well, we elect representatives in a republic.
That's true.
And you respect rights.
A direct democracy certainly is a democracy where everybody gets a vote. But tell me about this respecting rights thing. What other republic, in fact, respects rights?
The People's Republic of China.
Right. So this idea that we live in a republic is really just fallacious. It's just some term that someone's come up with. In Greek, democracy means of the people. Republic in Latin means for the people or something.
Don't forget the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. That's a republic.
Right. There's another republic. I mean, republics are all over. Take a pill. Republic means nothing.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And if you listen to the podcast version of this radio show and you have not yet left us a review and a rating on, say, iTunes or Stitcher or one of the other, I'm sure there's other, podcast aggregating sites out there. If you've not yet left a rating and a review, please do that, because as I understand it, the more ratings that a show gets and the more subscribers that a show gets, the higher up in various lists that it shows. And then the more chances are that somebody will stumble across the podcast version of the radio show. Now, yes, you heard me right. There's a podcast version of this radio program. We're on about 170 stations coast to coast, some of those live, some of those tape delayed, or there's not actually a tape anymore, but delay broadcast. But there's also the podcast, and a lot of people do listen to the podcast. So if you enjoy the podcast, leave a rating, leave a review. We would appreciate it very much. Get back into this story here about the woman in Mississippi who was jailed for 96 days without bail, without the ability to see a lawyer, and without the ability to even see the judge. And then we will get to the phones and the Skype. Circuit Judge Thomas Reevely. Again, he was writing for the 3-judge panel out of the New Orleans Federal Appeals Court. He was emphatic that what happened to Jessica Jauch was unjust and alien to our law. He wrote, "Prolonged pretrial detention without the oversight of a judicial officer and the opportunity to assert constitutional rights is unfair." He cited the harm to family relationships, the threat of losing a job, etc. for those that are detained for long times. Quote, "Heaping these consequences on an accused and blithely waiting months before affording the defendant access to the judicial system is patently unfair in a society where guilt is not presumed." The 3-judge panel also rejected the sheriff's claim that as jailer, he was just running a hotel. I'm just the county sheriff down here in Mississippi, and I'm just running a hotel. It's not my fault. And this is a paraphrase here, and yes, I am doing a redneck accent because, again, Mississippi. I'm just the county jailer. I'm running a hotel. It's not my fault that the court only has 2 judges and that they only have court twice a year. Reevely wrote, quote, "While he attempted to spread the blame to other officials, his actions and decisions are the cause of Jauch's constitutional injury. Either Sheriff Halford is plainly incompetent or he knowingly violated the law." The judge added it was unfair to hide behind a court calendar that includes only 2 sessions of court per year in the county. Only 2 sessions of court per year in the county.
Well, that's plenty. It sounds like small government, Daryl.
It does sound like small government, but
not
still,
where you need it.
You don't put somebody behind bars for 96 days without affording them the right to see a lawyer, a judge, post bail, or anything. Now, after she did see the judge, she was given a public defender. She was quickly afforded bail. And then when she went to trial, charges were dismissed because the video showed that she didn't actually do anything illegal, but she still sat in jail for 96 days, and now 5.5 years later is finally able to seek some form of compensation from the sheriff. Now, who's going to wind up paying for that? Sure as hell isn't going to be Sheriff Halford, because he's just running a hotel down there in Choctaw County, Mississippi.
Oh, that's horrible. What's horrible about this story is that this is not the first time I've heard this story. There's all kinds of examples of people coast to coast in virtually every part of our country that have been jailed for long periods of time over nothing. Another good example was...
I've heard stories of people that were released, but they were never told that they were released, so they stayed incarcerated for months or years after.
That's happened. I remember a case down in Pennsylvania when I lived down there about they found particles of soap in their vehicle, and they did a field test. The field test came back fine, so... But they were in jail for something like 120, 160 days.
That's
some
ridiculous.
Insane amount of time over nothing. And again, there was something in that where they weren't Mirandized or they weren't ever formally charged. It's just, that's not what this country was ever supposed to be about. We should be ashamed of ourselves for letting it happen.
Now let's go to Skype where we've got, speaking of Pennsylvania, we've got Ricky from the Commonwealth. Ricky, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Thank you there, Brother Daryl, Brother Chris, and Sister Heather. I love you, sweetheart, with that sweet little faux pas of yours just a little bit ago, I have to admit.
Go ahead with your thoughts, Ricky.
Thanks, Ricky.
No sweat. You know, I was sitting here, and this is kind of a serious topic, and I wanted to get your guys' take on this, and girls. I don't know how much you know, though, sweetheart. But, you know, I've had my share of troubles on the show, I think. You know, I have a feeling that at times some hosts, you know, have censored me. There are people that have made jokes of me, and I don't think utilizing the state as a joke, considering I'm the enemy of the state, is not very funny. You know what I mean, brothers and sisters?
Not really, but continue with your thought.
Well, I don't know. Do you know anybody that's an enemy of the state? I think Ian probably qualify.
I consider
It's not
myself,
fun, you know.
I consider myself an enemy of the
Ross
state.
Ulbricht. I can think of a bunch of people that are being prosecuted by the state.
I have a little different opinion. I don't look at the state as like an entity that I necessarily villainize. I look at the state as a group of individual people, and I hold individuals accountable for their own actions. And that's what I try to do.
Do they collectively do evil?
I love you, but you got a lot to
No,
learn.
because you know what? Not everybody that runs for office, not everybody that gets elected in Congress, like they don't all support the same things. They
I
don't.
bet most of them don't support locking up a woman for 96 days with no charges. I'll bet virtually all of them have
Okay, well,
never.
when you end up in a position where you have hundreds of thousands of people expecting you to do things a certain way, you can't please everyone. It's
Right.
physically impossible.
Right, you're exactly right, and this is my point.
But
and,
I think
and
most of them do the best that in their mind they think they can. I do think there's corruption. I do think there's deceptive people that run for office.
no
but I
argument.
don't think everybody that's a politician is necessarily this villain that's out to like screw people over.
Hold on, Ricky. We'll get back to you. I don't disagree with you there. What I am saying is, and we've had this conversation, it's kind of gone back and forth for you, those of you listening in the studio, and it's gone on online, on social media, and things like that. But my point is, and I'm going to try to be really clear on this, it doesn't take evil people. It doesn't take people that aren't basically good people, and that's fine. Let's say that the government is populated by 99% good people. The problem is systemic. It's when a government is formed and it grows to a certain size where it can no longer function in the way that our country was founded because it's grown too large. It's too cumbersome.
I would suggest that anybody that has never read the book read Authoritarian Sociopathy, where it looks at the ways
point.
that the inherent corruption.
I've literally dated sociopaths, so I'd rather not read that book.
No, it's really good.
But sweetheart, I'm very available if you want to, run into that. This is my life.
No, I've dated if I had $100 for every sociopath I've dated, I'd have at least $200. So.
But my point is that through a combination of things, government happens to end up in a horrible entity, and
okay,
it's not
I do
based,
maybe feel like that every now and again.
Brother, now we're getting there.
Does that make sense where I'm coming from?
Yeah,
Hold
let's
on,
continue
Ricky.
this thought.
We'll bring you back, let you continue
more
your thought. Chris, we'll let you continue yours. Heather, we'll let you continue being schooled by Chris.
Yeah, okay.
Your
Oh,
calls
come on.
and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic at Dinovite.
This year, whenever you order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog, we'll send you a free sample of one of the other doggy things we make.
Like Lico Chops, Super Mega Fish Oil, or Doggo Suds Shampoo.
What's on your dog's wish list?
We'll offer a different freebie each week at Dinovite.com.
Don't you just love the sound of healthy, happy dogs?
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Heart disease is on the rise. Clogged arteries, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol levels may not be fully detected by you, but the symptoms are there. Loss of energy, blood sugar spikes and drops, poor circulation, and irregular heartbeat are just a few of these that can alert you that something is wrong. Hear how Heart and Body Extract is making a difference in thousands of people's lives across America.
My blood pressure has normalized. My diabetes has totally improved.
Everyone is telling me now how much healthier I look, and I'm telling everyone how much healthier I feel. I recommend Heart and Body Extract to everyone.
Anybody over 40 in the North American continent should be using this product as a preventative to keep their cardiovascular system healthy.
Order your 2-month supply today by calling 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. Or order online, hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract, 866-295-5305 or hbextract.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And have you ever wanted to start your own website or blog, but you've not been able to put that idea into action? Well, you're in luck. HostGator, one of the top hosting companies out there, is offering a special deal to Free Talk Live listeners. Go to HostGator.com/FTL and you can get up to 50% off their regular prices. Hosting your own website or blog can be intimidating, but HostGator makes it easy. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, and they have 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-per-week, over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and the simplicity of use into the hands of you, the customer. HostGator has a 99.99% uptime rating, so you don't have to worry about outages. To get that special offer of up to 50% off for Free Talk Live listeners, visit HostGator.com/FTL. Let's go back to Skype, where we've got Ricky calling in from Pennsylvania. Ricky, you started making a point, and then it sort of devolved a little bit. Continue with your thought.
Well, and sure enough, you boys and girls can definitely pick up on this. See, now we're starting to get into the spiritual side of things, and that's where Chris was going when it comes to state. See, the state, I know where, because no offense, young lady, I know you're from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but that's very different from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
In the sense that I will tell you this: the state isn't like you say it is. The state has always been. The state
I didn't
is
say
like,
the state was like anything. I'm just saying I don't make assumptions.
Well, no,
I
hold on,
judge people
sweetheart. I'm not
on
gonna
individual
crucify you. Ricky, if I was you,
bases.
I'll go out on a date with you, sweetheart. It's all good.
You're so funny.
This is not Free Dates Live. Continue with your thought, Ricky.
But you can date Daryl. That is Free Date Live. So, Ricky, if you'd like to go out with
Ricky's
Daryl,
not
that's okay.
no.
Yeah, but it's all good, okay?
All right, so let's continue.
Anyway.
I'm going to be like Simon Cowell. It's a no for me.
Okay, it's mutual, brother Dower. I love you, but not that much.
Continue with your thought.
Okay, well, I mean, when it comes to the state, think of the state just like this flag I wear on my back, which is the opposite of that. It's a living, breathing entity collected on the souls of men. Okay, in the case of the state, not so good. Now think of it what I wear on my back to be the opposite of that. The state hate that. They hate what I wear on my back.
What do you wear on your back?
My Southern Cross, my battle flag of North Virginia Army. They hate that.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, they do.
See, I am more like inclined to live my life by like Christian values, like that for me is more important than political.
I'm a Gnostic,
than who is. That's great. And I respect you because that's part of my value system. You know what I mean? Like, I'll still respect people because it's part of my value system. Like, this idea that if somebody has a different, political ideology than you do, that means they're the enemy. I don't agree with that notion. I don't agree with people that believe in an existence of a government. I don't believe all those people are inherently bad. And I don't want to villainize those people because that burns bridges.
I think
and I'd rather
King
spend
Herod
my life
had a great
building bridges
government.
and communicating with people. Government people say it's bad, but having political discourse and lobbying, like what Daryl does, right? Daryl lobbies with people at the State House.
Sure.
I've done it with him, right? We communicate with people in quote unquote government, and we try to convert their hearts into seeing alternative viewpoints. And I think when you villainize people in government, you are putting a wall between you and them, and I don't like doing that.
Well, you keep saying that. Hold on for a second, Ricky. We'll get you back. Heather, you keep saying that, and I've already said this. I'm going to concede, and I don't actually believe this number, but I'm going to concede to you here on the air that 99% of all the government employees in every level of government are good people. Okay? So let's just remove that from the argument completely.
Okay.
That doesn't change the fact that the government does horrible things. The story we just talked about where a woman was locked up for 96 days by good people. That people are shot by police.
Sheriff Halford's just running a hotel.
Yeah.
And we must remember these are human beings with the same rights that we have.
Then why does it always go wrong? Why is it day after day I can pick up the easiest thing I ever do in the course of my life is show prep for this show, where all I do is I have to sit there and go, what did government screw up today? And I crack open a couple news sources and I come up with how many do I bring?
Yeah, but we're constantly
5, 10, 15,
so
20?
we're constantly talking about stories of what government did wrong. Like, how many times do we present solutions? Like,
in this case, we're talking
what
about
we could do better.
Sheriff Cloyd Halford, who's just running a hotel that incarcerated this woman for damn near 100 days. Sheriff Cloyd Halford is the person that did this.
So what
So
is
we are
the
pointing out who.
So what is the solution?
Okay, the solution is Sheriff Cloyd Halford. You don't incarcerate somebody for damn near 100 days without allowing her access to a lawyer, without access to a judge.
How do we make that opinion a reality? Let's be pragmatic here. How do we make that a reality?
You just say follow the Constitution. That's the easiest thing.
That doesn't mean people are going to listen to it.
No, I'm telling you that if he followed the Constitution, it wouldn't be an issue.
Okay, so
if he's an elected official, the people down there need to recall.
I'm all about shrinking government, right? And I got into a discussion online earlier today, actually, where somebody was like, "Oh, libertarian."
Why don't we blow it away, sweetheart? Why don't we blow that government away? I want to see.
I'm not a violent. I believe violence is like a last resort kind of thing. Like you mess with my kid, or if I see someone getting beat up on the street, like I'll interject. Like I try to avoid violence at all costs. I really do.
I'm for secession there, Heather.
What?
I'm for secession. In fact, that's one of the things I was talking about.
I think if New Hampshire wants to secede and use it as like a pilot project for the United States, go for it. Like, let's see if it works. I'm not opposed to that. If it works, it works.
All in favor?
Do you know what I mean?
Something quickly.
The ayes have it.
Continue, Ricky.
I'm saying I'm not like an unreasonable person here. I'm just.
Continue with your thought, Ricky.
I'll argue in a second. When it comes down to the spiritual side of things, I'm going to talk to Daryl about this. The spiritual side of things is very, very important. If you remember, I talked about the duel when I had the duel with Ralph, the duel at Weehawken between Aaron Burr and Hamilton. That was spiritual. It's not a ball of cap and powder. You turn you walk 50 paces and turn. We're talking 100+ feet. Any man of decent stature can take a shot from one of those muzzle loaders. But Hamilton had no honor. That's why he was dead. And the same thing was his kid the previous year. It's spiritual. And that's when it comes to the state. It's negative. It's spiritual in nature on all of this stuff that happened from the beginning. Even Mr. Jefferson had a moral dilemma when it came to Aaron Burr, and he did the wrong thing.
So did Pontius Pilate.
It's a difficult. One day I'm going to talk about that because I am a Jeffersonian. One day I'm going to talk about what Jefferson did, and otherwise almost inhuman, perfect life as far as what he did. He made a mistake because he had a moral dilemma with Aaron Burr, and he, if anybody, should have understood the duel. And he used the state, and he was going to try Burr for treason. One day I'm going to get into that, but I'm concerned about me talking on this show because I do know that at times I'm planning something very big for me on Halloween and also up to the 25th. And I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about the way that I have been censored. I know this for a fact by some hosts. And there's very important things that I'd rather not be on the show than have myself be made to look like a jackass.
Well, I don't think that you can rightly claim that any host of this show has censored you because we're not government agents. We're not saying, Ricky, you're not allowed to say things. We just don't let you speak forever. Thank you for the call. Now, I am curious what he's planning for Halloween, but he'll have to call at another time.
I hope it's his costume.
I wonder if he's going to put a jack-o'-lantern on his head and roam around town like Sleepy Hollow.
That would be a good one.
Are you guys dressing up for Halloween?
I don't think that did not take place in the Commonwealth, though.
What are you going to be for Halloween, Daryl?
I don't celebrate that thing.
What about you, Chris?
I'm going to be the state. I'm just going to lay around and screw stuff up all day.
Oh, yeah. Lovely.
So, Chris, did you ever hear about the study that was done by Dana Carney, an assistant professor at UC Berkeley, where she conducted an experiment where she found 50 volunteers and she gave them a leadership questionnaire to divide them into leaders and subordinates. But the survey was fake and it was just random selection. But the fact that there was a questionnaire involved gave some kind of legitimacy. And then she gave people the opportunity to lie about something. And what she found was the people that were, quote unquote, leaders, they were able to lie better than the subordinates.
Yep.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-774-3149 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-774-3149. Again, that's 800-774-3149.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, October 26th, 2017. Silver's trading at $16.91 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,274 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,943. Antiwar.com reports this year's Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, ICAN, for its successful efforts to establish a global treaty that bans nuclear weapons. Peace, disarmament, and civil society groups around the world celebrated the announcement and congratulated ICAN for its landmark treaty accomplishment. In a statement, ICAN called the prize a tribute to the tireless efforts of many millions of campaigners and concerned citizens worldwide who, ever since the dawn of the atomic age, have loudly protested nuclear weapons, insisting that they can serve no legitimate purpose and must be forever banished from the face of our Earth. By employing grassroots organizations and ordinary citizen diplomacy, ICAN, with 468 partner organizations from 100 countries, has permanently stigmatized nuclear weapons and their possessor governments and helped to achieve their eventual elimination. The new treaty was concluded on July 7th when 122 members of the United Nations voted in favor of its adoption. Since September 20th, 53 individual heads of states have signed the treaty, the first step in a government's process of ratification, which is decided by individual nations' parliaments. It will enter in force 90 days after at least 50 countries have ratified it. The United States, the most powerful opponent of the ban, called the treaty negotiations unrealistic and led a boycott, even though the talks are among the explicit mandates of binding articles of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty signed and ratified by the United States in 1970. The new treaty prohibits developing, testing, producing, manufacturing, possessing, stockpiling, and deploying nuclear weapons, transferring or receiving them from others, using or threatening to use nuclear weapons, allowing any stationing or deployment of nuclear weapons on national territories of signatories, and assisting, encouraging, or inducing any of those prohibited acts. The treaty requires each signatory state to develop legal, administrative, and other measures, including the imposition of penal sanctions to prevent and suppress the prohibited activities. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports a record high number of adults in the United States, 64%, say they support legalizing cannabis, according to new research. A Gallup survey revealed American support for legalizing cannabis has grown since they first polled the question in 1969, when just 12% supported the proposal. By the end of the 1970s, the figure had more than doubled. It changed little throughout the 1980s and 1990s. In 2001, support grew to 34%, and since 2013, a majority of Americans have backed the idea. In last year's poll, support hit 60% for the first time. Cannabis is still illegal at the federal level, but about 1 in 5 Americans live in a state where cannabis is legal for recreational use. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a Rhode Island doctor pled guilty on Wednesday to charges he participated in a scheme to obtain kickbacks in exchange for writing prescriptions for an addictive fentanyl-based cancer pain drug produced by Insys Therapeutic Incorporated. The plea by Gerald Rosenberg came amid ongoing investigations of Insys related to Subsys, an under-the-tongue spray that contains fentanyl, a synthetic opioid. Rosenberg pled guilty in federal court in Providence, Rhode Island, to charges that he committed healthcare fraud and conspired to receive kickbacks to prescribe the drug. Prosecutors say that from 2012 to 2015, Rosenberg's scheme to receive $188,000 in kickback in the form of speaker fees from Insys, which were a major factor in his decision to prescribe Subsys to patients. Under a plea agreement, Rosenberg agreed to pay $754,736 in restitution to healthcare benefit programs. He faces a maximum prison sentence of 15 years and is scheduled to be sentenced on January 16th. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A report released Tuesday by physicists at Stanford University revealed that the entire known universe, from the whole of human civilization to the totality of matter and energy, is actually the fictional setting of a cop show called Hard Case. According to authors of the report, existence as we know it was created solely to provide the framework for the primetime drama that airs weekly in a parallel universe, and that every historical event prior to the show's September 2008 pilot, including the Renaissance, World War II, evolution, the September 11th attacks, and the presidential administrations of Washington through Clinton, never actually happened and are merely part of the elaborate backstory crafted by Hard Case creator and showrunner Dominic Egan.
We used to believe that our universe operated under immutable laws of thermodynamics and gravitational relativity, but now we know everything just comes from the minds of Hard Case's 12 staff writers. Overall, it seems like a very well-written show.
Physicists have theorized that the universe as we know it will cease to exist whenever Hard Case airs its final episode.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Kicking off hour number 2 in studio, it's Daryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And you can join us by calling toll-free 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And Chris, you're going to tell us about some really weird, strange cease and desist order that came from Congress to some teenager that was trying to contact Congress.
I'm going to tell you about Joshua Brown.
All right. Is that Mrs. Brown's baby boy?
I would assume so.
All right.
Joshua is 13 years old. And this comes to us from USA Today. The headline is, Teen says he'll defy cease and desist letter from his congressman.
Well, I want to know what the cease and desist letter is before I know whether he's going to abide by it or defy it.
We'll do that right now. Redding, California. Joshua Brown just won't keep quiet. The 13-year-old Redding boy who 2 months ago, along with his parents, received a cease and desist order to try to get them to stop contacting Representative Doug LaMalfa's offices, said Monday afternoon he intends to defy that order. Joshua Brown and his father, Robert Brown of Redding, California. LaMalfa wronged me. I think what he did was probably unconstitutional. I have every right to contact him as one of his constituents, Joshua said, while standing beside his dad, Robert Brown, and attorney Ryan Burse of Berg and Associates in Redding. At issue is Joshua's repeated contact with LaMalfa's office in Redding and employees there.
All right, so this reminds me, without getting too much further in here, this sort of reminds me of the cease and desist letter that the Houston city attorney wound up sending Uber a couple of years ago, where there was some kind of ordinance up for question, and Uber wound up on the website, hey, here's a contact form where you can contact the Houston City Council.
Right.
And city councilors wound up getting like 10,000 emails.
There you go.
And counselors went to the lawyer and said, we're getting too many emails. Make this stop.
Right.
Oh, wait. Some of them, somehow they were able to figure out, people got this info from Uber. So they sent Uber a cease and desist letter.
Saying, pull this down. Well,
saying, don't tell people or don't ask people to contact their city councilors anymore. So I'm
one
curious
could say you could
here,
say we're just making that available to people. This is specifically Joshua repeatedly contacting this guy's office.
Right. So do they say how repeatedly? Like,
we're going to get into it. All the answers.
He speaks and then calls back 2 seconds later, robocalling once a day, weekly, monthly.
That's a good question. The controversy began when the Browns were told in an August 9th letter from LaMalfa's office to stop, quote, all verbal communication, emails, text messages, and office visits, unquote. Any other contact would be, quote, deemed harassment, unquote, and reported to the U.S. Capitol Police, the letter went on to say.
You, Mr. Brown, are not allowed to speak with, correspond with, telepathically, visually, orally, etc. with your member of Congress.
Don't even think about him. All further communications must be in writing through LaMalfa's Washington, D.C. office, wrote Mark Spanigal, LaMalfa's chief of staff. Spanigal himself has declined to go into detail on the issue, but has said, quote, the extreme volume, tone, and physical actions of the Browns led to the letter. Spanigal said in a statement on Monday regarding the Browns, saying that they plan to again contact the office beyond writing a letter. Quote, Congressman LaMalfa welcomes all communications from our constituents. It's our job. However, the Brown parents' and sons' activities rose to a level that caused Capitol Police to conduct a full threat assessment. At the conclusion of that assessment, a recommendation was made and a letter sent asking that they make all further communications in writing to the congressional offices in Washington, D.C. for the safety of staff and other constituents.
That office is at 322 Cannon House Office Building, Washington, D.C., 20515.
In case you want to show up, quote, the U.S. House of Representatives in this office takes seriously the security and safety of staff and our constituents. Issuing a letter of this sort is not done lightly. It is done rarely and only comes after direction given from Capitol Police. Hey, we're just doing what we were told.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody just always doing what they're told. Nobody wants to take responsibility.
The Browns don't dispute that they've called the office several times, and Joshua takes credit for the bulk of those calls and emails, including calls to the cell phone of Aaron Ryan, LaMalfa's field representative. Robert Brown and his son are politically active in progressive causes and contact LaMalfa's office to voice disagreement with the Republican congressman's votes and policies. But they and Burrs are clear in their interpretation of the issue. Joshua and his parents are merely exercising their First Amendment rights and have made no physical or other threats to LaMalfa or his staff.
Right, that First Amendment right to, petition for redress of grievances.
Yep, that's right. Up there with freedom of speech and freedom of religion. And
now,
freedom of assembly.
We do know, Chris, that, about a decade ago, probably a dozen years ago, the U.S. Supreme Court, in refusing to hear a case about unanswered redress of grievance, basically decided you have the right to petition, but there's no obligation of anybody in the government to answer your petition for redress.
Right. And in this case, you can't even really ask for redress, or you can only ask it once, then we have to get the Capitol Police
and then
involved.
you have to send a letter to 322 Cannon House Office Building, Washington, D.C., 20515. Attention, Congressman LaMalfa. That's L-A, capital M-A-L-F-A.
Yeah, that would
California's
be accurate.
1st Congressional District. I'm just making sure everybody knows the relevant information
Daryl,
here.
you're filling in spots in this story that need to be filled in.
About
so
Doug
I'm not saying
LaMalfa,
nothing.
who represents the 1st Congressional District from California, born July 2nd, 1960, lives in Oroville, California. His
that LaMalfa.
local office is 2662 Clive Highway, Suite D.
Oh, there we go. Quote, I really couldn't figure that one out. Why exactly they sent me a cease and desist order, Joshua said. As they should have for the letter, to even somewhat legally bind, they didn't explain it on their cease and desist letter. All they said was that they wanted me to stop contacting them.
Right, and the cease and desist letter is 3 sentences. And I will read it. You basically said what it said.
Yeah.
But I will read it verbatim.
Go ahead.
Robert, Lillian, and Joshua. This letter is immediate notification that all verbal communications, emails, text messages, and office visits must cease and desist immediately with all offices of Representative Doug LaMalfa. Any further communication should be submitted in writing to the Washington, D.C. office, located 322 Cannon House Office Boulevard, Washington, D.C., 20515. All other contact will be deemed harassment and will be reported to the U.S. Capitol Police. Sincerely, some kind of scribble that looks like Spanganelli.
I'm so confused. I must have missed something. Why is he being told not to call?
Because he contacted the congressman more times than the congressman liked being contacted.
Yep.
But about what? Like, how was he addressing the congressman? Like, is there more to this? I don't get it.
Let me finish the story out, and then we can dig into a little bit more detail. Quote, and this is Joshua speaking, quote, all they said was that they wanted me to stop contacting them. They didn't give me an example, and I said this in my response to them. They didn't give me an example of a time in which I'd threatened them or harassed them, and I don't think that they can. And I searched through every record I have. Nothing, unquote. By his own words, Joshua had already violated the order in a letter last week demanding an apology from LaMalfa. That letter and other attempts to reach the Republican congressman through a form on LaMalfa's website so far have gone unanswered.
Now, I think I will wind up going to LaMalfa's website, which is lamalfa.house.gov, and asking him what Joshua Brown did to wind up getting a cease and desist letter.
It's a good idea, Daryl.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Message and data rates may apply. Oh my gosh, that's Frank Thomas. No. Yes, that's him. Go ahead. Excuse me, are you Frank Thomas?
Yes, I am.
I bet you get recognized a lot.
I was a pretty good ball player.
You were?
Some people thought so.
Sorry, we recognize you from those Nugenix commercials.
Oh, yeah? That's great.
So does Nugenix really work?
Oh, yeah. I really can feel the difference. My workouts are better, and I feel a lot more energetic.
I wish my husband would use Nugenix.
It's so easy to get started. All you have to do is send one simple text.
Text the word radio77 to 42424 for a complimentary bottle of award-winning Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Its unique man-boosting formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help a man feel stronger, leaner, more energetic, and more passionate.
And you're going to like the difference, too.
Text radio77 to 42424 for a complimentary bottle of Nugenix. Samples are not available in stores. Text RADIO77 to 42424.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1. Plus, an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome about this weird cease and desist letter that was sent to a 13-year-old young man from California, Joshua Brown. Letter sent from the Congressional Office of Doug LaMalfa. First Congressional District. Doug LaMalfa, born July 2nd, 1960. You can reach his D.C. office at 322 Cannon House Drive, Office Building, Washington, D.C. 20515. Apparently, he doesn't like getting correspondence from constituents. I wonder how much he'll like getting correspondence from not constituents. We'll get back into this story. Plus, I definitely want to dissect this a little bit more. But maybe you want to wind up, not having unexpected visitors at your house, and you want to know if there's some unexpected visitors. Well, that's where the Blink home security system comes in and can help you. You can get this thing delivered right to your door. You download an app on your phone, and it walks you through a very easy setup. Even if you have a complicated router system, it shouldn't take you more than about 10 or 15 minutes. And the system can either notify you whenever something moves in front of the wireless camera, or you can just check in whenever you want to on the phone using that app. And we've got a deal for you. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge for 1. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL, as in Free Talk Live. blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's Blink Protect, all one word, Blink, BLINK, protect.com/FTL.
It makes it really hard to get anything across to your elected officials if they're sending you cease and desist orders. But I did want to know, let at Rep LAMALFA, that's if you're on Twitter, I did say, we're talking about your cease and desist order against Joshua Brown on Free Talk Live. 170 stations coast to coast! Exclamation point. Should I do 2 exclamation points?
I would do 2 exclamation points and then give the toll-free call-in line 855-450-FREE in case Doug LaMalfa wants to call into the show, because I've got some questions for him. And I'm also trying to send a message on his website, which is not easy because unlike most members of Congress where they'll take a message from anybody, they just don't necessarily respond to all of them.
Right.
He does not let you even send a message unless you put a zip code that's within his congressional district. So I just used the zip code for one of his regional offices, specifically his Redding district office at 2885 Churn Creek Road, Suite C in Redding, California, 96002.
Well, hopefully he'll tweet me back. You know?
Or hopefully he'll call into the show at 855-450-FREE.
That would be great. I just hope we can hear from him. I really, this boggles my mind. I mean, it is such a clear protection. You're our elected officials. You are there to represent us. You have a duty to listen when we want to complain. If we want to bitch about something, if we want to just vent, you're supposed to be there to listen. This is how this system is supposed to work. And by just shutting conversations down, it doesn't do anybody any favors, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. It just collapses the system. Maybe it does do something then.
Do we know, like, all to the extent, like, what this guy was messaging?
No, that's nowhere in the article and
nowhere in the cease and desist letter.
I mean, how do we know this guy wasn't like James? Okay, how do we know he wasn't like James has gotten banned from Free Talk Live for months at a time. You know what I mean? Like, how do we know that this guy wasn't like messaging the same kind of crap to this?
We're not elected officials, number one.
Right, and secondly, we have explained why he wound up getting a ban.
Every chance under the sun to not get banned.
I'm going to pick and choose my battles. I'm going to be one of those people. I'm going to say, I'm not necessarily going to say whether or not, you know, the elected official, like if somebody's messaging you like James, like why bother feeding into something like that? Like,
okay, so let me say this. If Joshua Brown were, in some kind of way communicating threats, then there are laws that could possibly be invoked and definitely would wind up being invoked if the threats were made to a member of Congress.
Right.
Not just threats, though, but I'm saying, like, even on Free Talk Live, when people call in or whatever, and they're making, like, racist, bigoted type stuff, you know what I mean? Like, you give them their stuff minute to vent, but you usually cut the call short versus somebody that calls and actually wants to hold a conversation.
You're very much confusing a radio show, which is meant to educate and entertain, comparing that to a system of government, which is supposed to be open and transparent.
Yeah, it is open and transparent. He was allowed to write and talk at one point for whatever
then he
reason.
Lost that right, and
I
nobody.
don't know why though. But I'm saying that
Joshua
is hypothetically speaking.
Joshua is saying he doesn't know either because they didn't explain it to him in the letters that he received.
Well, I don't know Joshua.
Joshua Brown is the 13-year-old young man that got the cease and desist letter that I will again.
13-year-old.
That I will again read.
I must have missed that. No.
And
verbatim
and his parents.
All 3 sentences. Robert, Lillian, and Joshua. This letter is immediate notification that all verbal communication, emails, text messages, and office visits must cease and desist immediately with all offices of U.S. Representative Doug LaMalfa. Any further communication should be submitted in writing to the Washington, D.C. office located at 322 Cannon House Office Building, Washington, D.C. 20515.
All right, we really
all
need to
other
figure out more
contact will be
details.
deemed harassment and will be reported to the U.S. Capitol Police.
That's weird.
Sincerely, Scribble, that looks like Spangeli, which is the name of the staff guy.
And the kid's 13.
13. And
That's
again,
weird.
And his parents. Don't leave them out of this.
Can you really
all 3
email
indicated.
that office of those people and ask them? Or should I do it?
I've already tweeted
drafting
him.
an email right now that I will hopefully wind up having sent within 15 minutes.
I'm really curious about that.
Right. So am I. And again, Chris, you wound up tweeting at Rep Lamalfa on Twitter asking him what happened, and you gave the call-in number where he can call in, 855-450-FREE.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this entire
you're trying
thing,
to get the little 13-year-old kid to call in?
No, I want the congressman to call in.
Let's get the 13-year-old to call in, too.
Well, it'd be great if I could find contact information for him.
Was the parents in there? In the article? Were they cited?
Yeah, the names of the parents, Robert and Lillian Brown.
Look them up online. Look them up on Facebook.
Brown is a fairly common last name, and Robert's a fairly common first name. Josh is a fairly common first name as well. It's not going to be easy to find these people.
Well, we know what district. We know what congressional district they live in.
Right, but they're not the member of Congress. I want to talk to the member of Congress.
Right, that's the most important.
The member of Congress is the one that is supposed to be held to some account.
Right, exactly.
But, okay, let me ask you this. Let's say that they just kept sending harassing letters to the congressman. Is there a line that gets drawn?
There are absolutely laws against harassment.
There are laws about harassment, and there's nothing in the cease and desist about harassment. It does not say why. It just says, stop contacting us.
Okay.
Because.
I'm not taking a side, so you should be getting frustrated,
This is Free Talk
Darryl.
Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
ProPure water filters. Most trusted, most tested. Right now, you can save 25% on the ProPure Nomad Gravity System. Visit an authorized ProPure dealer for details. That's PROPUR.
Advertising your business with GCN is simple, effective,
and more affordable than you might think.
Visit advertise.gcnlive.com for more info. Take your business to the next level. That's advertise.gcnlive.com.
In an emergency, you need a fire now. But what if the wood is wet? No problem for InstaFire. Our non-toxic fire starter packs lights wet wood, floats, and can even burn on water or in any weather. Sustains winds up to 30 miles per hour, and each pouch weighs only 1.75 ounces. Need an emergency or camp stove? Get the InstaFire Inferno stove that boils 20 ounces of water in under 3 minutes with controllable heat and temps from 425 to 1500 degrees. Free shipping. Go to instafire.com and use discount code RADIO30 up to 3 times for 30% off your order. InstaFire. Fire in an instant.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome, especially if your name is Congressman Doug LaMalfa from the 1st Congressional District of California, who is a member of the Committee on Natural Resources, Committee on Agriculture, and Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. We've got some questions for you, Congressman.
Representative LaMalfa.
Specifically, what did Joshua Brown, Robert Brown, and Lillian Brown do to deserve getting a cease and desist letter? Because the cease and desist letter sent from your office doesn't mention anything other than...
Stop
all forms of communication, with the exception of you can send a raven and smoke signals. If you want to correspond with my office, Doug LaMalfa, D-O-U-G, capital L-A, capital M-A-L-F-A, Washington, D.C. office located at 322 Cannon House Office Boulevard, Washington, D.C. 20515. Telephone number for his Reading office is 530-223-5898, in case you were curious.
And his telephone number, according to his Facebook page, is 202-225-3076.
That Doug LaMalfa. Okay.
Yeah, so we have some questions that aren't answered in the cease and desist letter that you sent to the Brown family. Also not answered in the USA Today article published a couple days ago. Top of the hour would be the appropriate time to do that. But Chris, you found a slightly older article because this cease and desist went out August 9th.
Well, yeah, I found a couple things. I also found the Facebook page for Joshua Brown for Reading City Council.
Okay.
So it looks like he may be entering the ring of politicians there in Reading.
All right.
Good for him.
Well, what's the other thing that you found here?
Yeah, it's an opinion piece from the Washington Post, and it says, "Can you be prosecuted for repeated unwanted emails to government offices or officials?"
Well, I don't like the word there, unwanted emails, because some members of Congress might not want emails that go against what they already support. Some members of Congress might not want any emails at all.
Right. And that seems to be the case here. At least doesn't want to hear what this guy's saying, because and what little we got from the story is that Joshua has written complaining about things that the Trump administration does, and that the Representative LaMalfa is a Republican. So maybe that's
arguably supporting, because,
maybe
party line.
I can't confirm that, but this article says, if I keep phoning you to say offensive things to you, I might be prosecuted for telephone harassment, especially if you've told me to stop calling. Similar laws in many states apply to unwanted emails. Sometimes you can get a restraining order against me to stop talking to you. Some harassment and stalking bans likewise restrict unwanted in-person speech. These laws have generally been upheld by lower courts, and in Rowan v. U.S. Post Office in 1970, the Supreme Court upheld that a law that let anyone basically order any mailer to stop mailing them, and that if the mailer continued, that would be a crime. Offensive speech about people in general is generally constitutionally protected unless it falls within one of the narrow First Amendment exceptions, such as threats or defamation. but offensive speech to people can generally be restricted. But what if the offensive speech is to a government office, to a government official, or sometimes to a candidate? Let's set aside speech that falls within an existing First Amendment exception, such as true threats of criminal attack or so-called fighting words, face-to-face personal insults that are likely to start a fight. Can calling government officials or offices or officials to insult them, especially after being told to stop, be punished the way that call a private individual to insult them might be? I think the answer should be no, and the lower court precedents on the subject seem to agree. But in two recent cases, government officials seem to think that such speech can indeed be criminalized. Number one.
And a lot of times, government officials, they will think that something can be or should be criminalized, but that doesn't necessarily mean that their opinion fits within what the law is or what the court precedent is.
Right. So they give a couple examples here. Ion Popa left several messages containing racist insults on the answering machine of head federal prosecutor in D.C., Eric Holder, who eventually became Attorney General. He was convicted of telephone harassment, which banned all anonymous calls made, quote, with intent to annoy, abuse, threaten, or harass. But the D.C. Circuit in 1989 expressly held that the First Amendment prevented the statute from applying to, quote, public or political discourse, unquote, such as condemnation of political officials, even left expressly for that official. The second case they refer to is Darren Drohoda sent a couple of anonymous insulting emails to William Avery, Drohoda's former political science professor who was running for Nebraska legislature at the time. Avery was eventually elected and served 2 terms. Drohoda was convicted of disturbing the peace for sending these emails, but the conviction was reversed in 2010 by the Nebraska Supreme Court. I have a soft spot in my heart for this case, says the writer of this article, because of the First Amendment case I never argued in court.
No, he said it was the First Amendment case he ever argued in court.
And he goes on to list a number of other cases that all sort of come to this same conclusion.
And we'll continue with these in just a moment, but your calls and thoughts welcome. We've got Robert calling in from our very own Keene, New Hampshire. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I wanted to let Chris know that, well, I stopped in and I saw him at the store a few weeks back, and I mentioned to him that I lost my cryptocurrency. And
I remember that.
It was a very valuable lesson. However, it did work itself out because the person that helped me set up the cryptocurrency informed me that we did write down, the little code there.
Good.
And it jogged my memory, and I remember where I put it, and so I've since retrieved everything back. But it was a very valuable lesson.
That's very scary. I've lost, you have your seed to your wallet or things like that, and these ways that you can recover a cryptocurrency wallet, like for Bitcoin or for Ethereum.
So for people that aren't familiar, the seed for a cryptocurrency wallet is like a 12 random word phrase
in a specific order
that you wind up putting into the wallet program, and then that recovers the wallet to give you access
to the money that you have. Well, I'm so glad to hear that, Robert. I work with, we deal with cryptocurrencies a lot in our store, and I've had so many cases where people are like, I don't know what I did with it. I can't find it. How much did you have? Oh, only like 10 or 12 Bitcoin. It's just like, oh my God, I can't even imagine.
And Bitcoin now is kissing $6,000. So 10 or 12, that's a little bit of money there.
Yeah.
Now, there are some people, I've heard some people say, oh yeah, I've got like 10 or 12, it fluctuates. Well, no, that's $10 or $12 worth of Bitcoin, not 10 or 12 Bitcoin.
Which you can have too, right? Yeah, but...
Oh, okay, backup phrase? Is that what you're talking about?
It may be referred to that. It depends on what wallet you
use. I just went into my little wallet here, and there's a little tab that says backup funds, and then you click it, and it says backup phrase.
And then it gives you 12 words?
Yeah, it says for your security, blockchain does not keep any passwords on
What are those
file.
words,
the
Heather?
following 12
Don't
word
give
I
those
haven't
words
made one.
out publicly because then anybody can access your wallet. But Robert,
thanks.
Glad to hear that you
really,
did
really
wind
happy.
up
Thanks for calling.
recovering those funds. Now, if you want to find out more about Bitcoin, you can do that by going to bitcoin.com. And maybe check out the news section, news.bitcoin.com, where you can learn about some of the upcoming forks and some of the interesting things that are happening in the crypto sphere. That's news.bitcoin.com. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size for incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency. Get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Hello, Mr. Anderson. The NSA has noticed how much time you spend on conservative news sites. We have no choice but to consider you a domestic terrorist.
Tired of your internet activity being monitored by Big Brother? Get VirtualShield.com, the world's easiest to use virtual private network. Browse the web anonymously, leaving pesky advertisers and spies in the dust. Get started today at VirtualShield.com. Take advantage of our free 30-day trial. VirtualShield.com. You have the right to remain private.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And if you like the show and you want to help us reach more program directors who wind up making decisions about adding us to more radio stations, consider joining the AMP program. AMP is advertise, market, and promote. And that money is used for just that, advertising, marketing, and promoting the show to the people that make the decisions to add us to new radio stations coast to coast. Right now we're on close to 170 coast to coast, plus an island in the Pacific that I'm not sure we can officially announce yet. I don't remember, but bunch of radio stations. And if you want more of them, then it is possible. amp.freetalklive.com. Now, changing gears here, we had been talking about this 13-year-old and his parents. It was Joshua Brown and his parents, Robert and Lillian Brown, that wound up getting a cease and desist letter dated August 9th from Congressman Doug LaMalfa of the 1st District of California. That's 1st District of U.S. Congress, where Congressman LaMalfa didn't like the fact that the Browns were contacting his office. We don't know what they were contacting his office about because the cease and desist letter does not specify what communication methods they were employing that wound up rising to the level of you deserve a cease and desist letter.
Right.
So we have reached out to the office of Doug LaMalfa, and you can do so as well. He's on Twitter at Rep LaMalfa, or if you live in California or happen to just know a zip code within his congressional district, you can contact him on his website, lamalfa.house.gov. But changing gears here, there was somewhat well-known couple months ago, there was that free speech rally in Boston.
Yep.
That some people were saying, it's a white nationalist neo-Nazi rally. And somebody that, Heather, you and I both know was actually
one of the
scheduled to be a speaker, wound up, I don't think, actually speaking at the event. And he wound up losing his job because he was listed as a speaker and the event was billed as a neo-Nazi white supremacist event. And, well, it turned out to not be that. But this particular person has filed a lawsuit against the mayor of Boston. What's going on here?
Yeah, so I don't know. Some of our listeners probably remember a couple of weeks ago we had Brandon Navam call in, and he plugged his website or whatever, and said that he was going to be doing this lawsuit against the mayor of Boston for slandering him, or is it libel? Which one? I don't remember.
Defamation is what is being reported here by the Boston Herald. So let's just jump into the article here.
Okay, so it comes from the Boston Herald. Rally organizer sues Marty Walsh for $100 million. So that's the figure that has been rolled out. So it says an organizer of a recent free speech rally in Boston has filed a $100 million lawsuit against Mayor Martin J. Walsh after he says Walsh purposely defamed the group as neo-Nazis, which led him to being hounded by internet activists and losing his job. Lowell resident Brandon Navam filed a civil suit in Berkshire County Superior Court Monday that claimed Walsh made knowing lies or reckless false statements about the organizers behind the August rally, which drew a few dozen speakers and more than 20,000 counter-protesters to the Common.
Now, let's pause right here for a moment. And I heard various reports of, there were only a few dozen people to listen to any of the speakers. But from what I heard from firsthand accounts,
you weren't allowed to get to
they weren't allowing people into the Common.
Right.
Yeah. They had like I was there. Many of you know I was filming it too for News to Share Facebook page. And they had a 200-foot, at least 200-foot buffer zone set up around the bandstand. So the bandstand's like this big gazebo-looking thing. It's where we actually had Gary Johnson's rally in Boston where I was working on that campaign. So it's this huge like gazebo-looking thing. And they had all these metal fences, like a complete radius around it, like 200-foot buffer zone, and they had hundreds of bicycle cops all standing along it, and then just a crowd of 20,000 people outside of that buffer zone.
Well,
so
we got to keep the protesters away from the racists showing up to the rally.
Are the
by
Nazis
not allowing people into the rally?
Are the Nazis or the anti-fascists? Which ones are scared of bicycles?
Actually,
So one of
the bicycles I found from filming it, are actually used as a form of crowd control. So
they swing them around.
So
and
are horses.
A little barricade. Yeah.
What they do is they when you have a huge crowd, especially in a city settings, the bicycles are perfect because you just send a line of cops through the crowd, and then you push half the crowd down one road and half down the other at the intersection, and you just dissect the crowd.
I'm sorry, I just had this mental image of bicycle cops doing like synchronized swimming. Isn't like that the perfect visual?
It was kind of like that, though.
Synchronized cycling,
really
kicking their
was.
legs up in the air.
There was some ugly stuff I saw go down that day. It was, and you know what? A lot of it really was prompted by the mayor's statements. You had a CNN anchor that tweeted Mayor Walsh saying, "Good luck, the white Nazis or whatever coming to your town." And now, in my opinion, Mayor Walsh, he's in a position where he needs to really think before he speaks because his comments can have these kinds of effects. Like, you don't sit there, if you don't know everyone speaking at this way, you don't sit there and label everybody on that ballot or whatever you want to call it of speakers like as white supremacists. Like, you just don't. You don't do that. You hold people accountable and make individuals accountable for their actions.
So let's continue with the article.
Okay, so going back into the article, it says he's seeking $50 million in actual damages, $50 million in punitive damages, and a declaration that Walsh's statements were false and defamatory. A spokeswoman for Walsh said the mayor had no comment. Of course not. Now he doesn't want to say anything. But he had no problem saying it when the CNN anchor tweets him.
It's actually fair, and I don't often give government officials credit for something, but it's actually a smart move here to not make a public comment about pending litigation.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the lawsuit, Navam said he helped organize the rally and was scheduled as a speaker, but withdrew from the event after a woman was killed during a violent white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. The lawsuit claims Walsh implied Navam and other organizers were tied to the violence in Virginia, saying, in quotes, "It's my understanding they're coming to Boston," in reference to hate groups, and there's no place for the hate that they're spewing. As a result of Walsh's comments and Navam's planned appearance at the event, the suit alleges the software engineer was harassed by an internet hate mob that exposed his address and contact information and targeted his employer, leading the employer to fire him. Navam's attorney, Ronaldo Del Gallo, said the suit was filed in Berkshire County in the hopes of finding a more neutral and unbiased jury than the one in Boston.
Now, while on the one hand, I definitely, wish Brandon the best of luck in this lawsuit, on the other hand, I know the way these lawsuits generally go, to where more than likely the judge will wind up saying something along the lines of, Mr. Navam has failed to state a claim upon which relief might be granted, or cite one of the many different immunities that the mayor has in his capacity as mayor, and therefore
as a public
dismissed.
official, absolutely. You can't sue us because we say you can't sue us.
And then there's also going to be, even if it does ultimately go to trial, it's going to be difficult for Brandon and his attorney to prove that the mayor made, knowingly made false and defamatory statements by saying, my understanding is.
You know what, though? I don't care. I think when ridiculous stuff like this occurs, and it was just absurd that people go ahead and take a lot of recourse against people that say inflammatory things, if they are there to serve you, if you're actually paying their salary for them to defame you, to say untrue things about you, be my guest. No problem with it at all.
Right, but do we know if the mayor mentioned Brandon Navum by name, or did he just say, it's my understanding that they're coming to Boston and there's no place for hate here?
Yeah, and there's no place for his comments either. He should have freaking done a little more research before popping off at the mouth. That's my opinion.
Oh, Daryl's
Boston.
defending the state again.
No,
Here we
Daryl's
go.
just jaded and knows how this is going to wind up going.
I know that
Your
is true.
calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, hey, try this? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you. And you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. That's 855-700-2979.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, October 26th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.91 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,274 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,943. Antiwar.com reports this year's Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, ICAN, for its successful efforts to establish a global treaty that bans nuclear weapons. Peace, disarmament, and civil society groups around the world celebrated the announcement and congratulated ICAN for its landmark treaty accomplishment. In a statement, ICAN called the prize a tribute to the tireless efforts of many millions of campaigners and concerned citizens worldwide who, ever since the dawn of the atomic age, have loudly protested nuclear weapons, insisting that they can serve no legitimate purpose and must be forever banished from the face of our earth. By employing grassroots organizations and ordinary citizen diplomacy, ICAN, with 468 partner organizations from 100 countries, has permanently stigmatized nuclear weapons and their possessor governments and helped to achieve their eventual elimination. The new treaty was concluded on July 7th when 122 members of the United Nations voted in favor of its adoption. Since September 20th, 50 53 individual heads of states have signed the treaty, the first step in a government's process of ratification, which is decided by individual nations' parliaments. It will enter in force 90 days after at least 50 countries have ratified it. The United States, the most powerful opponent of the ban, called the treaty negotiations unrealistic and led a boycott, even though the talks are among the explicit mandates of binding articles of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty signed and ratified by the United States in 1970. The new treaty prohibits developing, testing, producing, manufacturing, possessing, stockpiling, and deploying nuclear weapons, transferring or receiving them from others, using or threatening to use nuclear weapons, allowing any stationing or deployment of nuclear weapons on national territories of signatories, and assisting, encouraging, or inducing any of those prohibited acts. The treaty requires each signatory state to develop legal, administrative, and other measures, including the imposition of penal sanctions to prevent and suppress the prohibited activities. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports a record high number of adults in the United States, 64%, say they support legalizing cannabis, according to new research. A Gallup survey revealed American support for legalizing cannabis has grown since they first pulled the question in 1969, when just 12% supported the proposal. By the end of the 1970s, the figure had more than doubled. It changed little throughout the 1980s and 1990s. In 2001, support grew to 34%, and since 2013, a majority of Americans have backed the idea. In last year's poll, support hit 60% for the first time. Cannabis is still illegal at the federal level, but about 1 in 5 Americans live in a state where cannabis is legal for recreational use. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a Rhode Island doctor pled guilty on Wednesday to charges he participated in a scheme to obtain kickbacks in exchange for writing prescriptions for an addictive fentanyl-based cancer pain drug produced by Insys Therapeutic Incorporated. The plea by Gerald Rosenberg came amid ongoing investigations of Insys related to Subsys, an under-the-tongue spray that contains fentanyl, a synthetic opioid. Rosenberg pled guilty in federal court in Providence, Rhode Island, to charges that he committed healthcare fraud and conspired to receive kickbacks to prescribe the drug. Prosecutors say that from 2012 to 2015, Rosenberg's scheme to receive $188,000 in kickback in the form of speaker fees from Insys, which were a major factor in his decision to prescribe Subsys to patients. Under a plea agreement, Rosenberg agreed to pay $754,736 in restitution to healthcare benefit programs. He faces a maximum prison sentence of 15 years and is scheduled to be sentenced on January 16th. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A new Gallup poll found that the GOP has an overwhelming advantage among young people who look like old men. The poll shows Republicans hold a solid lead among the coveted elderly youth demographic, including 18 to 24-year-olds who wear suspenders and bow ties to class every day. I'm joined by Republican strategist Rob Powell. These are pretty encouraging numbers for the GOP, aren't they?
Yeah, of course, it's very encouraging. Millennials who look like they're permanently dressed for boat trips are a rapidly growing segment of the population.
And according to the survey, the prematurely aged are also very politically active.
Absolutely. Only about 20% of young people vote overall, but there's almost 100% turnout among youth that dress like a dad from a 1950s sitcom.
Now, what about the criticism that the GOP only appeals to white men?
Not true. We also have a lot of support among sorority girls that wear pantsuits and pearls, paunchy Chinese college students, and we're making inroads among African American ham radio enthusiasts.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Kicking off hour number 3 in studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And you can join us by calling into 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Now, Chris, you had sent in, and we mentioned this at the beginning of the show, about a Missouri college. You sent this story into our show prep folder thing. A private Missouri college is rolling out a mandatory military patriotism class.
You betcha.
And when I first saw the headline, I was like, oh, that's rather interesting. And then I looked to see what the college was. And I'm not really very surprised for a couple of reasons. So one, it's a private religious college.
Right. So they have every right to basically put out whatever type of curriculum they wish.
Well, not only that, but a lot of religious institutions are very big on patriotism.
I don't know if I would go with that broad of a brush with that, but I will grant you that a lot of probably more conservative religious institutions may be more prone to promote militarism.
Right. The school here.
Wait, why religious institutions?
Well, I'm just saying that
every church I ever went to growing up, there was always some kind of...
We did a prayer for the troops if there was fighting on. And
God, family, country sort of thing that was being... And,
Sure.
Definitely you would expect God to be promoted in a church, but country and patriotism seems in some ways antithetical to my understanding of Christianity.
I would agree, and how I've always felt about it. I don't want to put anything above God.
Right, and there certainly are some denominations that would fall more in line with my understanding. So Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't do the Pledge of Allegiance. They don't do the whole national anthem thing.
Well, that's why Christianity, too, is about forgiveness and the idea that, no one of us is better than anyone else, which is kind of that basically Christianity is Jesus is the only saint that there is. He's perfect. Everybody else is a million times.
But do you feel Christianity should glorify war or promote war or
it doesn't in any way. It says that though.
But there are some churches that do.
Yeah,
well, that's more doctrine than scripture.
Right.
Well, yeah, but scripture is open to interpretation.
And the way I interpret it.
Exactly. The way you interpret it or the way I interpret it.
Majority of peaceful Christians
peaceful
interpret it.
Christians.
Yeah, but at the same time...
There are preachers like John Hagee who literally preaches with the Bible in one hand and newspaper in the other.
But even Judaism and Islam, all three of the Abrahamic religions, pretty much adopt the 10 Commandments or whatever.
But I want to get back to the part where you were speaking for all the peaceful Christians.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that, forgiveness, though, is a huge part of being a Christian, right? Is that we're all imperfect, we all make mistakes, and it's human, right? You and me were both Republicans at one point, right? Supporting
but
war
I don't understand where forgiveness comes into a question about promoting policy.
It's not. It doesn't. Christianity doesn't pick policy. That's the thing. Is it picks value systems.
I've seen church bulletin boards that have said there's only two people that died for you: Jesus and the American soldier.
No, that's bullcrap. It was Jesus.
Right, but my point is there are a lot of people that call themselves Christian that promote patriotism and militarism.
Right.
So
that's what I call BS.
I know they shouldn't be doing it, but they do.
Hey, see how she's cleaned up her act throughout the whole show?
Continuing on, the college here that has instituted this mandatory military patriotism, it's the College of the Ozarks. That I, at one time, and to some extent, I still kind of like part of what they do because they don't allow their students to graduate with debt.
Interesting.
They call themselves Hard Work U, to where if you can't make the tuition, you take a job working at the college to pay towards your tuition.
Interesting.
And there's a story actually from 2013, College of the Ozarks no longer taking students who insist on getting federal loans. Nice. And of course, as we know, all student loans are now federally backed, so they're not letting students enroll if those students have a loan. So, on the one hand, kudos for not letting your students go into debt to get an education, but I'm not standing up with them here.
Okay.
I guess you could say I'm going to take a knee on this one. Time.com, formerly Time Magazine. I don't know if they still do print,
I don't know either.
but the website has a story here. A private Christian college in Missouri is rolling out a mandatory military science course aimed at encouraging patriotism, making it a requirement for all freshmen. College president Jerry Davis told Time, "We think there needs to be more international program regarding our country. We don't think the military has been properly recognized, and students in general need to know more about the place of the military in this democracy."
Okay.
What is that, a theocracy then? Because
no, I think that in our country, the military does play a role. The constitutional role would be to defend us from foreign invasion.
Yeah, I think the military, if you have a military and they're behaving in a way that's, a certain standard value system, then it's not really a big deal. If they're not going around.
They don't decide that, though. Politicians decide that. Politicians decide, and according to the Constitution, Congress decides when to declare war and who we're going to war
Who
against.
knows? Maybe that's what happens when you separate church and state.
But yet Congress has been passing these authorizations for use of military force, and then the president gets to do whatever he wants for 90 days, or in the case of Yemen, for about 2.5 years before Congress steps in to say you can't do that. And now they're talking about passing something saying you can't do that. They're not actually saying you can't do that. They're talking about it.
Yeah, the role of the military is to go in and kill people and break stuff. That's what soldiers do. No, that's okay, and that's what they do.
The Marines even promote during basic training. Your job is to kill people.
Be to save people and to help people.
That's not their role. It's not their constitutionally defined role. The Constitution.
Then let's redefine it, and that they're going to be
Well, no. Again, go back to what I said. The military just sits there doing nothing. They're probably training. I don't want to imply that they're not doing anything.
They're doing busy work.
They're doing busy work until the government says, go do this.
Right. And
so
again,
they don't act unilaterally.
Again, the Marines in basic training, the drill sergeant says, your job here is to kill people.
Right.
So if somebody came up to you and said if somebody came up to you randomly and said that somebody was in trouble over here, would you just tell them not my problem, or would you go investigate and try to help whoever was
We're talking
in trouble?
about something specific. There's a humanitarian crisis occurring in country X, and the reason it's happening is because they're bad government.
Let's say hypothetical situation like a Holocaust, right? There's all these people being massacred within a contained region, right? That once you go in, you don't leave. And then a few people manage to escape, and they escape to America, and they tell Americans, hey, this tragedy is happening. Here's pictures. What do we do about it? Do we just say not our problem?
No.
Or do we or do we realize what we're up against and then go in and try to save these people?
Isn't it amazing that in 1787 that we actually came up with the answer for that?
What?
And that is the people through their representatives can choose to go to war if Congress declares war on them. And if we go to war, then the president acts as commander-in-chief to prosecute that war. The answer's already there. The problem is that politicians don't follow it. They don't care. The Constitution's not worth toilet paper to them.
So let's actually talk about this course called the Patriotic Education and Fitness at the College of the Ozarks, plus your calls and thoughts. Welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Message and data rates may apply.
Oh my gosh, that's Frank Thomas. No. Yes, that's him. Go ahead. Excuse me, are you Frank Thomas?
Yes, I am.
I bet you get recognized a lot.
I was a pretty good ball player.
You were?
Some people thought so.
Sorry, we recognize you from those Nugenix commercials.
Oh, yeah? That's great.
So does Nugenix really work?
Oh, yeah. I really can feel the difference. My workouts are better, and I feel a lot more energetic.
I wish my husband would use Nugenix.
It's so easy to get started. All you have to do is send one simple text.
Text the word radio77 to 42424 for a complimentary bottle of award-winning Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Its unique man-boosting formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help a man feel stronger, leaner, more energetic, and more passionate.
And you're going to like the difference, too.
Text radio77 to 42424 for a complimentary bottle of Nugenix. Samples are not available in stores. Text RADIO77 to 42424.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1. Plus, an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are 2 Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank Betsy's, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855 450 free. That's 855 450 3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl
and Heather
and Chris.
And how would you like to save money on the things that you were going to buy online anyway? What if I said that you could save 5% instantly on things you were going to buy from Amazon? You might say, all right, I'm interested. What if I said you could save 25%? Yeah, you can do that when you go to saveatpurse.com. That's save, A-T, purse, all one word, saveatpurse.com. Now, you do need an Amazon account to get the bigger savings. So you put things in an Amazon wish list. You then import the wish list into your account there at saveatpurse.com. And then when you wind up getting the items after you've funded the account with Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, when you receive the items, you then go back to saveatpurse.com and say, I received these, and then the money leaves escrow and somebody on the other end winds up getting Bitcoin. You get items and you save money. Saveatpurse.com. Jumping into, and we barely scratched the surface on the article here from Time about the College of the Ozarks, which is a small private Christian college in Missouri. They call themselves Hard Work U. They do not allow students to wind up graduating with student debt because they don't take students that have federal student loans, and that's basically the only way you can get a student loan now for post-secondary education is a federally backed loan.
Wow. So the cost of education must have plummeted because now we've got the federal government solving the problem of high cost of student loans, right?
No, because, see, you've funneled all of the loans through a single entity, and, well, they don't really care about price because, well, it's guaranteed.
Well, that's the thing. Then the colleges have no incentive whatsoever to be competitive because the loans are what?
Federally backed.
Federally backed. So bring in as many, we can raise our prices.
One of the few things that if you do claim bankruptcy, federal student loan is one of the few things that does not get wiped away.
Yep.
It might be the only, but I think there may be one or two other things that are on there. But again, they, taking a unique approach here. So on the one hand, kudos, but at the same time, I'm not a fan of this new thing where they are requiring for all incoming freshmen that they must take a course called Patriotic Education and Fitness that is billed as combining the school's prior physical education and patriotism requirements and adds more military training, such as rifle marksmanship, land navigation, and rope climbing. The course will also cover military customs and flag protocol. The college strives to encourage an understanding of American heritage, civic responsibility, love of country, and willingness to defend it, according to the mission statement. The school president, Jerry Davis, says, to train a better citizen, so to speak, I don't think there's a better way to do that than to remind students of the importance of the military and to be respectful of the country in which we live. Otherwise, this division that we all see in this culture will do great damage to the United States.
See, here's where I get torn, because I joined the military. I did my time in there. I'm proud of the time I did. I wasn't in a combat role. I wasn't even really in when we had much combat going on, which is a fairly rare thing to be able to say.
But there was like those 12 hours in Grenada, man.
Yeah. Well, so we did have Grenada. We had some stuff going on in the Middle East while I was in there, but my job didn't really entail no shooting going on in Fort Detrick, Maryland.
Right. You were doing stuff with satellites and communications.
Yeah. But I do.
Allegedly.
I do, as far as you know. So I do appreciate the people that do actually, the military's role is to protect the United States from foreign invasion, and their presence does that. The issue I always have is these acts of foreign adventurism and regime change and imperialism that not the military, that the politicians in Washington decide are important, because you know what that means. Lockheed Martin's going to build 3 new plants in my congressional district, and this bank is going to benefit because they're going to loan money to both sides to buy weapons, and that's going to take care of United Technologies over here. There's all sorts of reasons to do that.
Right, and as the late Dr. Mark Allen Feldman used to say, we used to have businesses that supported the war effort. Now we have a war effort to support the business.
Right, and that's exactly what it's turned into, and that's the part I hate the idea of American soldiers who, by my standards, are young. They are young, and they're coming home in bags for questionable reasons.
Right.
It's horrible.
Continuing.
Go ahead.
Continuing here, Davis, again, that's the president of the College of Ozarks, Jerry Davis, spoke out in September against athletes who have knelt during the national anthem to protest racial injustice and police violence, declaring that his school would not play any team whose players did not stand for the national anthem.
All right. That's his position.
Yeah.
As a private college, they're welcome to take it. I am welcome to support athletes that kneel if they feel that that's a way that they're going to voice their displeasure with some part of our current system. Be my guest. But in the same sense, if the NFL wants to come up with a rule that says it's part of your employment contract, you can't do that, then okay, sorry guys, it's up to you. You can work or you don't work.
We even discussed that a couple weeks ago, to where current labor law as it stands would basically be on the sides of the players, saying that the NFL can't wind up doing that.
Yeah.
But again, this, where he's saying we're not going to play a team where all the players don't stand for the anthem. He's not understanding what they're actually protesting. He's portraying what he thinks they're protesting.
Yeah. And that's become the narrative. It's if you don't stand for the anthem, you're disrespecting the troops. And this was never the conversation. It was about police brutality and lack of accountability. If you go back to Colin Kaepernick, I mean, that's what this stuff was about. And,
Oh man.
But all we can do is
So
say
much
you're
conflict.
disrespecting the troops. From what?
I got into a conversation the other day. This is just reaffirming everything I believe, because just arguing over standing or kneeling is just is this really what America's come to? This is what America has come to.
This is the most important thing we can come up with.
And it just brought up this conversation I had the other day where somebody was talking about abolishing government. And I was like, well, in order to abolish something, don't you have to figure out why it comes to exist in the first place? And my theory is that government comes to exist because there's conflict. And so the more conflict there is amongst people, the more government will arise as a result. And so, in my opinion, so this person was like, oh, so you think we should have a, monopolized force on conflict resolution? And I'm like, no, I think maybe America doesn't need government, but they could all benefit from some therapy.
No argument there.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome. This is Free Talk Live.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
Unfortunately, Heather.
And Chris.
And we're going to the phones where we've got Sarah calling in from Albuquerque. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, we had the first day of the runoff election. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're calling in from Albuquerque where there's a mayoral runoff election. You guys have this thing called early voting that doesn't exist everywhere. So today was the first day of it.
Well, yesterday was, and I was amazed. I thought, I could not believe. I was told that 10,000 people showed up and voted yesterday. And I'm like, what? I mean, I was like, did I hear that right? It must have been a mistake because, I mean, Albuquerque voters, we don't care about voting. Like, you know, that we have a national-wide voter apathy.
But you had a good turnout. That was a good turnout?
The very first day, I know. It's like, I was like, by 1 o'clock, it was 2,600 people. It's like, well, that's pretty good. Well, it turns out it was 10,000 on the very first day. We only have like 15 days of early voting and then the election day. So the days were cut in half. And I know that people don't know that we only have a couple of days on the runoff. But, you know, my question is, since when did Albuquerque voters ever cared about our elections or who the mayor was?
Let me ask this question.
Don't ask us. We should be asking you that question.
Hold on. Let me ask this question, Sarah. So you're the one that's throwing these numbers out. What sort of percentage of voters is that? So that 10,000, is that 1% of the voters? Is that 20% of the voters? Is that 75% of the voter? Well, what's the percentage of voters that showed up?
I did not know the exact breakdown.
Then how do you know 10,000 is a large number in Albuquerque then if you don't know how many voters there are?
Well, that's
I'm talking about 10,000 for the early voting day.
Right, but if there's 1 million people that live in the city, then 10,000 isn't going to be a high percentage. If there's 50,000 voters that live in the city, then 10,000 is a high percentage.
What I would say is Daryl's given you some good ideas to maybe do a little research, Sarah. Maybe you can find out what typical numbers have been in the past and see if it's a good turnout. I mean, I think it's great that many people came out. I'm glad that you're excited about it. And quite frankly, you are our expert for mayoral politics in Albuquerque. We turn to you for answers.
Well, but the thing about it is that I think on October 3rd, on Election Day, 30,000 people showed up right on Election Day. So it's amazing that 10,000 people showed up on the first day of early voting. The people don't get warmed up until the very end. They'll start going in there 3 hours before the polls close. It's always the election day, and then they stand in line and all that. So what made people to come out on the first day?
Was it a really nice day?
They only come out maybe like a couple hundred at the most.
What kind of bribes were the politicians offering that day? Was it free T-shirt if you vote for me, or
no? You know what? We don't
chance
do
to
that
win a new
South
car?
Carolina stuff. They bribe the people to spend overnight with a chicken dinner. I was told. They have a big party. Yeah, the South Carolina, and then they'll bust out their sleeping bags. They'll have a big celebration. They'll sleep overnight, stand in lines to be the first one. But you know what?
I never saw that when I lived in South Carolina. I've not seen that living in New Hampshire, where we proudly proclaim first in the nation. That stuff doesn't happen here either. But I am curious, what sort of turnout there actually is.
It's a good question.
And just throwing out, there were 10,000. That doesn't tell me what sort of turnout it was. But again, comparing this election to the primary election, the preliminary election, if you will, there's a difference because, this is the one that, quote unquote, actually counts. The other one was just determining who are the two people that are going to be in the general election.
Right. Now, it's either you like one or you don't. You either vote for one, you're against the other one. You fill out one bubble and you walk out. There's nothing really to think, or it's very simple, uncomplicated. People know what they're voting for or voting against. They will do it.
I think you have more faith in voters that they know what they're voting for or what they're voting against, because the vast majority of people that I talked to, they couldn't tell you who anybody other than maybe the top of the ballot person is, and that's if you're lucky. Here in Keene, New Hampshire, we've got municipal elections coming up in, about a week and a half, and I'm not sure how many people would be able to tell you who's the mayor, who's the challenger. Name one of the 5 at-large city councilors. I don't know how many voters in Keene would be able to know that. But again, we're probably only going to have voter turnout of about 9 or 10%.
Yeah, and that's pretty typical across the country. If it's not a big name, if it's not a presidential election, then turnout's lower. That's
right. And especially when you artificially limit the number of candidates on the general election ballot to 2.
Right.
Which is what they do here and what is happening in that runoff there in Albuquerque. Sarah, thank you for the call. Let's jump back into this article. A little bit more to cover here from Time.com about the College of the Ozarks, where college president Jerry Davis has implemented a mandatory military science class to encourage patriotism, and it's a requirement for all freshmen. He last month said that, this is not a quote, but last month he spoke out against athletes who knelt during the national anthem to protest racial injustice and police violence, saying that his school would not play any team whose players don't stand for the anthem. So basically, he's willing to forfeit a game because he needs a safe space. Controversy over the protest escalated last month when President Donald Trump accused players who protest during the anthem of being unpatriotic and disrespectful. But Davis said the school's new patriotism course, which was piloted last year, is not a response to those protests. He said, quote, "I can tell you the students here, even during athletic events, have practiced respect for this country long before it developed an issue or developed as an issue this year. They got a weird cut in the quote here.
Right.
He added, "It's not something that we just dreamed up as a reaction to something." He said he hopes to see other colleges and universities copy his new class. Quote, "I think more colleges and universities need to make it their business to be more intentional about teaching about the country and about the military." So what are your thoughts? Should patriotism be a requirement of going to college or not? 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Again, College of the Ozarks. On the one hand, I've got to give them credit for not letting their students graduate with student loans. But at the same time, this whole, you've got to be uber patriot to attend school here, I'm not a fan of.
Private school, they can choose.
Oh, I'm not saying they can't choose. I'm saying I can say that I'm not a fan of their choice.
That you can.
And that's the wonderful thing about freedom of speech. And there are some people, Chris, that they'll wind up saying what you said as sort of a counter to my, well, it's their choice. You shouldn't be able to say anything about it. No.
Oh, no, you have absolutely
I have
that
as much right to say that they're making a bad decision as they have to make the bad decision.
Right.
And I should be free to choose who I bake these cupcakes for.
Yes, you should. As long as you just continue to bake cupcakes.
I brought cupcakes in for everyone in studio because I'm awesome.
You are awesome.
Yeah.
So
Are my
I will
cupcakes awesome?
I don't know. I haven't had one yet.
Oh, that's right. Well, this one's
one of those is for Chris,
I'm
and
waiting,
one of
I'm waiting
those
for
is
afterwards.
for not Chris.
For
Your
Ian.
calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome. This is Free Talk Live.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Investing is a long-term process. How many times can you think of in the last decade that the stock market has destroyed retirement funds for people just like you and me? For your existing IRA, you need the security that gold has provided for centuries. Remember, gold has never been worth zero. Capital Gold would like to introduce you to the Home Storage Gold IRA. It's a self-directed IRA set up with all the protection and tax benefits of an LLC. But the big difference in this IRA is you invest in gold and you hold it in your possession. You can't do that with stocks. That's security. You can transfer any type of IRA hassle-free in days. Please call right now and learn more, and we'll waive the $500 setup fee and give you a free safe to store your gold. 800-535-7789. 800-535-7789. 800-535-7789. That's 800-535-7789.
Delighted health insurance executives gather in an outdoor coliseum to watch a patient battle cancer. And a self-conscious flasher is fully clothed under his trench coat. This is the Onion Week in Review. While stressing that they would absolutely never consider doing anything of the sort, German leaders quietly admitted this week that they were pretty sure they could carry out another Holocaust if they ever truly wanted to. Quickly noting that the Holocaust was an atrocity that should never be repeated, no matter how easy it would be to do so, almost all members of the German parliament discreetly conceded that with their country's dominance of Eurozone GDP, pulling off the unthinkable genocide would not be the least bit difficult.
I'm just saying, hypothetically, that we very easily could do it. I mean, we definitely have the infrastructure, and the concentration camps are still standing.
In other news, a so-called Christian has an erection. A new study finds more children are growing up in single-parent households. And a real-life Nancy Drew traces the source of her HPV.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No-Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now. But I've got a question for you real quick. How would you like to try the best pillow that you will ever use and try it risk-free for 60 days? Talking about My Pillow. It's designed to fit the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. I've been using this thing for about a year and a half, and it's definitely the best pillow I've ever had. And unlike a regular pillow, the My Pillow, it'll collect dead skin and dirt over time as well. But what separates My Pillow from most other pillows is you can throw the My Pillow in the washing machine, throw it in the dryer, and it's still usable. Go to MyPillow.com. Use code FTL to get your very own My Pillow at half price, or you can get a second pillow free of charge. And remember, if you don't like it in the first 60 days, you get your money back. And the pillow itself is guaranteed to last you 10 years. That's MyPillow.com. Code FTL. Now, there's a really interesting story out of Saudi Arabia about a new type of citizen. Heather, you got this story, right?
Yeah.
About the first ever robot citizen? What's going on here?
So basically, in Saudi Arabia, they became the first country to grant citizenship to a robot. It says, a humanoid robot took the stage at the Future Investment Initiative yesterday and had an amusing exchange with the host to the delight of hundreds of delegates. Smartphones were held aloft as Sophia, a robot designed by Hong Kong company Hanson Robotics, gave a presentation that demonstrated her capacity for human expression. Sophia made global headlines when she was granted Saudi citizenship, making the kingdom the first country in the world to offer its citizenship to a robot.
All right, so I'm already skeptical now that, this is a female robot and the Saudi government is deciding to give a female robot citizenship.
Can it drive? Is it allowed to drive?
I don't know. If you put a robot in a self-driving car, then, could the robot then drive the self-driving car?
But who's really driving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Okay.
So in quotes, it says, I want to live and work with humans, so I need to express the emotions to understand humans and build trust with people, she said in exchange with moderator Andrew Ross Sorkin Asked whether robots can be self-aware, conscious, and know they're robots, she said, well, let me ask you this back. How do you know you're human? I want to use my artificial intelligence to help humans live a better life, like design smarter homes, build better cities of the future. I will do my best to make the world a better place, she said.
So is this some elaborate sort of thing as advertisement for Blade Runner 2049?
No, what it is it's programming.
Sophia is a replicant, and we need to hire Harrison Ford to figure it out.
Here's my 2 cents on this. Sophia is not coming up with these things out of her AI. Sophia has been pre-programmed with these wonderfully insightful comments that are triggered by certain questions that get asked.
So you're saying that Sophia is the combination of Alexa and Google Home?
No, I'm saying it's the combination of Alexa and a puppeteer who hits the right buttons to respond to certain things, or she responds to certain things. Alexa's a good example. Mm-hmm. Alexa is not alive.
Right. Well,
and she is not sentient.
Well, it says her desire to achieve more human-like characteristics was rewarded by being granted the first Saudi citizenship for a robot. I am very honored and proud for this unique distinction. This is historical to be the first robot in the world to be recognized with a citizenship, she said. A panel made up of experts from some of the world's leading companies and research institutions discussed the scope for innovations in artificial intelligence, robotics, quantum computing, machine learning, and mixed reality to yield the next generation of products and services, paving the way for productivity and progress in emerging economies.
So I don't disagree that we're going to get there. I just think a lot of the demos and the robots that are out there, the androids, the quote-unquote AI, it's a little bit of going to Tomorrowland in Disney World or Disneyland. You're seeing things that can come about.
There's an actual video in this article, too, that we can share to the Free Talk Live page. Like, you can actually watch her speaking.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's impressive, but I was also impressed by...
what was it, the Hall of Presidents in Disney and Epcot, and saw Abraham Lincoln stand up and talk.
And it was pretty impressive, too, so... I don't...
Chuck E. Cheese has robots.
Exactly.
That interact with people.
Yeah, it's not that I don't agree that we're going to get to a point where we have to consider things like citizenship and humanity when we talk about artificial sentient beings, but
you got to wonder,
again,
though,
I'm just not sure we're there yet.
When they're being programmed to be triggered by certain questions and certain stuff, like if they can start being programmed in a way that's going to help them recognize like trust and distrust, like that's a big thing. Like what if you ask them a question that suddenly like breaks the robot's trust, then all of a sudden you're seen as like an enemy? Like robots could be start using as like warfare, you know?
Skynet.
Like you're going to have like robots that like come and like interrogate you, and you're going to have to like gain the freaking robot's trust and have to freaking battle it out with your answers and try to like be more intelligent than the robot.
You know, what you said there about if robots can be programmed to trust and not trust, and I don't think we're there yet. We're only at the point of, robots can respond to commands. Or 10 go to 20, 20 turn left, go to 30, blah, blah, blah.
We're a little bit beyond that because this new generation of supposed AI robots responds to sort of open speech and free speech and things like that.
But it's still keywords.
It is.
So when you say...
It's reacting to...
Well, listen to this.
Okay, Google, what's on a Whopper hamburger? The Google Home was programmed to go to the Wikipedia page. That's not your Google Home deciding to find you an answer.
Right.
This next paragraph, though, says Mark, I think it's Rybert, founder and CEO of Boston Dynamics, pinpointed entertainment, security, emergency response, and construction as just a few of the sectors that stand to be revolutionized by robots.
You want to talk about a scary company. Boston Dynamics. They're a scary company.
Why?
Watch some of the videos that they have of some of their prototype
like
things.
The horse, or not the horse, but like the dog.
mule. I think it's called the mule. to where
They're very
this
much-
thing, it's designed to be some kind of weapon of war, but it can self-stabilize. So you try to kick a leg out from under itself,
it just keeps
and
going.
it keeps going. Like it looks like Bambi for a second, but it keeps
I think
going.
I saw that video.
Yeah.
Picture it
And
with
I think, wasn't it Google that tried to buy them a couple of years ago?
I think so. But I know they're a big defense contractor.
But can you imagine like going somewhere and you don't realize someone's got like freaking a robot security, so you like knock at the door and all of a sudden this freaking robot comes out like.
Yeah.
I want Rosie the maid to come answer a door. That would be pretty neat.
The Japanese have a whole different idea of what Rosie the maid should be like.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yeah, and they're working very, very hard to
Eventually,
make
you're
that
not even
a
going to
reality.
have Capitol Hill police anymore. You're just going to have robots.
Well, a lot of people already kind of have robot maids. They just call them Roomba.
Yeah, we have a Roomba. I actually made a sign for our shop that says "Caution Robot at Work" because people would walk into our carpeted room and not see the Roomba.
Can you imagine? One of the other sectors is emergency response. So imagine like calling
dangerous
911 and then a
situations.
robot coming out to your house and like treating you more proficiently than a human.
No, I mean there's some real benefit to that in that for example, things like CPR or doing an EKG or doing things exactly right without getting flustered and doing them in the right order, and I can see that also going into dangerous situations.
Oh, yeah.
So
if a robot can like see, like almost like give you an X-ray while staring at you, it'll know exactly how to do the right chest compressions. I mean,
Right.
there's so much stuff you could program into these things.
pulling a body out of a car, that's
but that's
on
what's
fire.
scary is that with technology like this, it's like it can be used as a tool or it can be used as a weapon.
But
It
then
depends
you
on
also,
the hands it's in.
You also have to program in ethics to the
Right.
robot to where the robot winds up. Oh, yeah, nope, I see bleeding from this point, so this person is beyond treatment.
Triage.
And, well, maybe the person doesn't have a massive head wound. They've just got a slight cut, but, there's blood from somebody else, so it looks like they've got a massive head wound.
Just put them out of their misery, robot. No.
Yeah. This is definitely scary, but also interesting that Sophia the robot apparently is a Saudi citizen now. Not sure what that means as far as her quote-unquote rights. This is Free Talk Live. We're done for tonight. Always online at freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce